welcome everybody. It's lovely to see everybody. This is the first formal event, the first symposium event of an AHRC network that me and Clarissa put together, and it's a collaboration between BCU and Sunderland University.
The data that I've been, or the data that I've used in the paper emerged from my PhD study, which I completed in 2013, which seems like a lifetime ago now. And what I'd set out to do at that particular moment was to understand the differing ways in which ethnicity was inflected differently through representation in men's magazines. So very simply, this idea of unruly multiculturalism, of course, for Gilroy, it's about language. I was trying to use that as a theoretical frame to understand what happens when bodies that we come into contact with don't fit our preconceived ideas of race and ethnicity.
But this study focused particularly on a particular group of disabled young men, and these were young men with a neuromuscular condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So we looked at an early transcript of mine at how I was asking the question, and here we go. Okay, all right, finally, not quite finally on this section, but penultimately, there's the even more question, more personal question of, well, having sex with yourself, if you understand what I mean by that. And he saves me and says, wanking.
So actually, I think there's a lot of opportunity for thinking about, well, what can transmasculinity tell us about, accounts of maleness, accounts of being a man. So there's actually quite a lot of stuff about conscious male embodiment. Sorry, the text is probably tiny here, but these are sort of passing tips. And they've been around sort of since I was sort of coming out in 2003, early days of the internet. So there's all this stuff about how to walk, how to stand. There used to be this thing about how you looked at your fingernails. So you weren't supposed to do that, you're supposed to do that. Apparently it's the macho way to do it. Crossing your knees. Actually, I'm still quite self-conscious about this when I'm kind of sitting like this in terms of where do I put my knees and where's the right way to cross it. So there's this very overt kind of account of how you're supposed to do male embodiment.
My masculinity is remarked upon muscles, clothes and energy. Ray, who identified as GNC, gender non-conforming and queer, didn't identify as a woman, but then said, I don't deny that I have, quotes, female parts, and they are a part of me whether I like it or not, but on some level I don't really feel connected to them.
Really excited to hear from a range of different speakers, very interdisciplinary. We've just had our first panel of the day, which was absolutely fantastic, so we're off to a great start.
Joining up those conversations is vital if things like this, which are fantastically well funded, are going to make a difference.
In the transition to post-industrial Britain, northernness has obtained a particular symbolic significance in relation to class identity. When the structures of industrial capitalism are no longer there, the continuing performance of representation of northernness has been seen by some as a way in which hard working class masculinity is variously venerated, mourned and protected.
He dominates the rooms, he's often looming over the other characters as well, and it's easy to see that his body is a triumph of discipline over docility within the institution of masculinity.
Everybody look at me. I am a man. I'm a man that beats my wife. I don't know why. She pisses me off sometimes. My 17-year-old son told me that he's gay. In the black community, you don't talk about those kind of things, blood. What do you mean that you're gay?
Men and masculinities is a severely under-researched area, and we're only really just starting to tap into many of the really important areas. So to take one of the big ones at the moment, male suicide, we need to understand how men are engaging with their emotions or not engaging with their emotions, and how we can better serve them and help them through these difficult things in their lives.
I think that it's important for young men to understand, or not just young men, all men, to understand the myths of masculinity upon which sort of gender is predicated.
The male model was not objectified because it's not bad objectification. Good objectification, according to the circuitous reasoning behind it, what is anyway a loaded term, can't be objectification because objectification is necessarily bad. when in fact, of course, objectification can be wonderful. Which is part of the reason why so many young today work so hard to turn themselves into sexy things.
I've got chapters on dance parties, on barebacking, on chemsex, on hookup apps, and each of these chapters really are quarrels with common sense or overblown, what I regard as overblown takes on a lot of these things. One person that I interviewed in relation to their transition from going out clubbing to going online talked about going online as just cutting out the middleman.
So comments that the dick look weird, that they are disgusting, that no woman would find that a penis erotic or beautiful are very common. And this is very common with pictures, including penises with the foreskin. So there's a real kind of thing happening too, where if it's not circumcised, it's seen as more grotesque than if it's circumcised. And this is coming up a lot in kind of contemporary discourses about dick pics.